You're listening to Side by Side with Kathy Wilson, episode 36. Try bird watching. Ralph was in front of his computer, tracking the course of his investment portfolio. I couldn't help but notice his grumbles and grunts. Obviously, his course was not running smoothly, and no doubt was all going downhill. Ralph was in no danger of making his first million this week. You don't sound all that delighted with things. Do you need my help? Yes, I realized that most people would avoid getting involved, but it was a lot more fun to stick in my oar and show off my daring do. This consolidated moose pasture I bought is still losing money. When I buy 1,000 shares of a company, it is supposed to go up in value. It was supposed to be at rock bottom. The chart showed all the signs. It was time to buy. Ralph grumbled some more. You could always sell the CMP and buy something that's going up. That seemed pretty evident to me. If you want to go up, don't jump on an elevator going down. Look here, Kat. You stick to baking cookies and I'll attend to the investments. What in heck are you talking about, CMP? What am I talking about? The stock you bought, of course. Consolidated Moose Pastures or some such thing. If I made cookies the way you are investing today, I don't think you would get any treats at all. You must admit that Ralph deserved that little dig. I wonder what Hickory and Duncan are doing outside. They have been out for well over an hour and the temperature is falling just like your moose pasture. I better call them in. I opened the patio door and gave Duncan and Hickory a mighty call. I likened my clarion notes to my father summoning the cows in for milking. This could be heard by neighbors 2 roads over from my dad's farm. What a great set of lungs my father had. Meanwhile, Hickory ran up the steps and nudged my knee as she ran in. That's one in, but no Duncan. I could feel Hickory sitting beside me. Duncan is always first in. Where is he, Hickory? It had long since become dark, and it just was not the Duncan thing to stay outside if I called him in. Oh, blast, something's not right. Ralph, I'm going out to see what's wrong with Dunk. What could be wrong? The yard is fenced. You worry too much. He's a big boy and can look after himself. Not without me. I just knew there was a problem, or Duncan would have been first through the door. I grabbed a flashlight and threw myself into the task of finding my big guy. I stood at the top of the stairs and inhaled the cold night air, but quickly wished that I had not. Now I understood all too well. There was the unmistakable odor of Pepé Le Pew, spreading through my not-so-wonderful winter wonderland. I thought that skunks hibernated during the winter. Well, this one failed to read the memo, and I just knew that my poor Duncan had been on the receiving end of that toxic blast. My poor Dunk. He must be feeling worse than miserable right now. Poor guy, drenched in shame. How could I make my Duncan not feel so humiliated? The best way was to clean him as thoroughly and as quickly as possible. But first I needed to find him. Fortunately, the places where a dog his size could hide were limited, so my task was far from hopeless. I could just follow my nose. As I shone my light around the yard, paying close attention to the bushes as well as low-hanging branches, I thought about all the towels I would need to dry 'em off and wondered if 48-ounce cans of tomato juice would be enough to rid Dunk of his old skunk. There was a new bottle of dog shampoo and an unopened bag of milk bones. So all in all, I concluded that I was well equipped to do the job. Now all I needed was Stinky Dunk. It didn't take long to find my poor dog, as he was lying next to the frozen fish pond. He knew he needed to wash, but how do you do that when the water is solid? As I got closer, the stench was unmistakable. Duncan, this is the dumbest thing you have ever done. Don't you know anything about skunks? Hickory should have warned you. She got hit by one twice. Just go away. This is just too grim to be borne. Go in and have a cup of coffee and leave me alone. My guy was not in a reasonable mood. I pulled myself up to my full height of almost 5 feet and bellowed from the bottom of my diaphragm, Duncan, you can haul your keister into the house now. Up the stairs he slunk, with tail tightly held between his legs. He hadn't realized that things could be worse, but he had not taken Crazy Cat into consideration. I opened the patio door and in scrambled my woeful Duncan. He quickly hid behind Ralph's recliner, where Ralph had retreated after giving up on his failing stock investments. When I considered both Ralph and Duncan, there was little difference in their outlook on life at that moment, except the tomato juice wouldn't help Ralph at all. He would no doubt have preferred a good malt scotch. Where's that horrible skunky smell coming from? Will you shut the damn door before the skunk gets in here too? The door is closed. Dunk got sprayed and I need to give him a bath. Well, hurry up before I choke. Lord, that is foul. It didn't take long to gather together all my supplies. Tomato juice, plus a can opener, 5 old towels, dog shampoo, scrub brush, and treats. I ran warm water into the tub and called my less than sweet-smelling Duncan into the bathroom. On further reflection, I realized that I was overdressed for the job impending and stripped down to my underwear. There was bound to be lots of splashing before my task was finished. Come on, big guy, the water is just perfect. Come, Dunk, there's a treat waiting for you. I used my sweetest, most cajoling voice, but Duncan wasn't buying into that. Eat it yourself. I don't want one of your fancy bubble baths. Hickory and Ralph were both watching the performance with avid interest. As far as Hickory was concerned, she was overjoyed that it wasn't her, and Ralph wondered why Kathy was parading around in her unmentionables and was concerned that he might get skunked secondhand if he had to help with the bath. Come on, big guy. It will be over in no time, and you will feel so much better without that disgusting stink. I coaxed and prodded, but my fearless Labrador refused to take even one step towards the bathroom and the awaiting tub. I approached the stubborn dog, and Ralph continued to hold his nose. I slipped an old leash on Duncan's collar, which resulted in Duncan stretching out his entire length on a nearby throw rug. This was certainly not making it any easier. Ralph continued to eye my predicament and finally queried, "I know this is not a formal occasion, but couldn't you have found a better outfit to wear other than this to wash the dog? Nothing even matches. So are you complaining because I am not wearing Victoria's Secret? I am going to get drenched. How about giving me a hand getting Dunk into the tub?" Ralph watched as I gave the throw rug an insistent tug and slowly pulled the rug with its passenger into the bathroom. All at once there was a bright flash, and I realized that my blasted husband was armed with his camera and had just taken a picture. To make matters worse, he was laughing so hard I thought his sides would split. "Ralph, it is time to put away the camera and help me lift Dunk into the tub. He is too heavy for me to lift on my own." As I spoke, I got into the tub and put my arms around the front end of Duncan and lifted his forward portion into the tub. Hard to believe he was only 2 years old. I gave Duncan a mighty pull and ended up on my butt in the tub. What a mighty splash I made! All at once, Duncan was licking my face with concern and had gotten the rest of himself into the bath on his own. He was worried that I was hurt, and Ralph, amid hysterical guffaws, went on clicking photo after photo. I picked up the scrub brush and a tin of tomato juice and pasted on what I hoped was a calm demeanor. "Ralph, since you are definitely not helping, you can haul your arse out of here. I don't want to smell like a skunk. You are going to smell as bad as Duncan does. Anyway, I think you are doing just fine without me." Perhaps my face turned purple, but all at once his tone of voice sounded more conciliatory. "Now, Cat, don't hurt poor Duncan. He didn't mean to get stinky. He's really sorry. Ralph, if you don't clear out this instant, you will be soaked to your drawers and sleeping on the couch. Make certain you take that ugly smirk with you." Ralph chose the wiser course and quickly vacated the bathroom, not bothering to stifle his laughter as he left. I rubbed Duncan with the scrub brush, making certain that his entire coat was wet, then added the first can of tomato juice while I went on scrubbing, shampooing, rinsing, then repeating the whole process 3 more times. "Dunk, you are going to look so gorgeous when we are finished. You will win a blue ribbon, and your picture will be on the front page of the Standard for surviving a skunk attack." I was delighted to see that long tail make a swish. It was certainly a wet tail, but at last it was a happy one. I pressed my nose into Duncan's thick black fur and smelled tomato juice, but the disgusting skunky smell was no longer evident. After Duncan received his final rinse, he jumped out of the tub and I thoroughly dried him off. "See, big guy, good as new." He wasted no time leaving the bathroom, and I made quick work of cleaning the mess. As I gathered all the towels together for the laundry, my hand knocked into something next to the sink. What a surprise! It was Ralph's camera. I bet he had forgotten where he left it. I located the place where the film was inserted and took out its roll of film. Somehow or other, it unrolled as it fell from my hand. "Oh, dear! I fear the pictures in this camera are ruined now. Smiling, I re-rolled the film and put it back in the camera. Perhaps one or two pictures might be okay, but I doubted it. Big Dunk drifted into the living room where Ralph was watching a documentary on Alaska, and Hickory was regarding Ralph as he put a potato chip into his mouth. That was a terrible experience. The bath was almost as bad. Duncan lay down beside Cat's chair. But at least I smell better. Well, Dunk, I told you to stay away from the skunk, and what did you do? You went over and introduced yourself. What else did you expect? Hickory was looking at the big guy with exasperation. Oh, was that a skunk? I thought it was a cat, like Panda. You know, black and white. I just wanted to say hello, and it didn't even try to be friendly. Someone should teach it some manners. Duncan, I tried doing that one time, and the stupid stink bomb just let me have a second lesson. Take it from me. Don't mess with skunks. All you'll get is 100 kinds of misery. Why don't you take up bird watching? I don't think you would get into trouble doing that unless you bullied a Canada goose. Hickory, you can keep your skunks and Canada geese. I'll help Ralph with his investments. That seems much safer. All seemed at peace again. I gave Duncan and Hickory a milk bone and Ralph a cup of hot chocolate with marshmallows floating on top. Dear Hickory was licking Duncan's ears. It was so kind of her to give some extra comfort. A guy needs that special care after a skunk attack.